Right, this is Kelly of Rojo Chief Clothing, and this is my Instagram as you see here. And when you look here, I'm going to click on the link. It will say creator Kelly _ McAlpine. That's to my personal Instagram account. But right here it says follow link to my YouTube, Facebook, and clothing below. So click. I'm going to click on this link right here. Kids sports tee, as you see. Baby's clothing. This is a shirt for a toddler. I even have bodysuits for babies. And then going back, I have the category for also women. Tank tops. I also have polo shirts. I also have long sleeve shirts, as well as hoodies for women as well. And also for men, they have the same thing. Men tank tops, men t-shirts, got v-neck shirts, comes in a variety of colors, sizes. So, check me out if you would like to have some fashion that honors your ancestors and shows the world that you know exactly who you are and proud of it. Now, let's get into the video. Okay, we're going to talk about Thoth. So Thoth is a god of ancient antiquity. They associate him with ancient Egypt, but they say that he was a god of Atlantis. So let's get into it. It says the history of his life is described in the emerald tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean, which was discovered by M. Doril in the pyramids of South America. So we're going to pause right there. South America, they claim, is where they found this. Now we know South America is where the Red Indians are located. And we know Red Indians are also our ancestors in North America and also the Caribbean and Central America as well. But it's interesting that they would have found his information about this god in South America instead of in Egypt. But let's continue. It says, in the tablets, Thoth tells about Atlantis, an archipelago consisting of 2 large islands which existing in the Atlantic Ocean a long time ago. Also about the highly developed civilization of the Atlanteans. The most important point about this civilization is that it possessed a true religious philosophical knowledge, which allowed many people to advance quickly in their development to the divine level and accomplish thus their personal human evolution. In the Emerald Tablets, Thoth, the Atlantean, explains also the reason of the destruction of Atlantis. Confidential knowledge was imparted to unworthy people, and latter began using it for evil purposes. They adopted bloody sacrifices, and this resulted in numerous incarnations of hellish beings among people. This led to a quick degradation of incarnated people in Atlantis. When the destruction of Atlantis happened, 2 islands submerged into the ocean, one after another according to the divine will. Thoth, the Atlantean, moved to Egypt, Kim, with the group of divine Atlanteans. And it says, in Egyptian mythology, Thoth is worshipped as a god of wisdom and writing, as a patron of sciences, scribes, holy scriptures, also a creator of the calendar. According to Plato, he revealed to the Egyptians counting, geometry, astronomy, and writing. Apart from the Emerald Tablets, Thoth, the Atlantean, there is another text by Thoth, the famous Emerald Tablet of Hermes Trismegistus. Okay, now let's look at this book right here. It says Atlantis and America, Navigators of the Ancient World. January 1st, 1998 is when it was published. It says the author was Ivor Zapp and George Erickson. It says in the text presents evidence of a new theory that the great stone spears of Costa Rica and sighting stones throughout the Pacific were used to teach sea routes and constellation paths to navigators of the ancient world. It reveals substantial links between Mesoamerica and Egypt and the Middle East. Okay, now on this website called andrewcollins.com, it says Atlantis as the Americas soon after the discovery of the American mainland by Christopher Columbus. Well, we know he didn't reach the mainland. He was at the Caribbean. He went to Cuba. And also, I believe, Hispaniola, which consists of today Haiti or Haiti, and what we know also as the Dominican Republic. But anyways, it says, soon after the discovery of the American mainland by Christopher Columbus in 1498, Spanish historians began proposing North America, South America, or indeed the Americas as a whole was Plato's Atlantis. More recently, Bolivia and South America by Allen, Central America by Zapp and Erickson have suggested for the site of the fabled Atlantean city. Certainly, the Americas do match the proportions of the Atlantic islands described in his works in Timaeus and Sitritius, written circa 350 BC. If Atlantis did once exist, and it really was one of the immense size proposed, there is no better solution. In actuality, this solution has a significant drawback, for after relating the size of the Atlantic island, the old priest of Sais tells Solon that from it, Atlantis, the voyagers of those days, could reach the other islands, and from the islands, the whole of the opposite continent. This last statement should be seen in the context of the age in which it was written. To put it bluntly, there was no opposite continent in Plato's day, yet Plato seems clearly to be referring to America mainland, suggesting therefore that he was somehow aware of its existence on the other side of the Western Ocean, once probably through stories and rumors circulating the philosophical world. Other classical writers such as Aristotle, Theopompus, Plutarch, Strabio also allude to the opposite continent. So if the opposite continent he described was America, this means that it cannot be Atlantis as well. So what they're trying to say, they're trying to claim that it couldn't have been Atlantis, but we know for a fact that America is indeed Atlantis, because we know that it's definitely not Europe, we know it's not Asia, and we also know that it's definitely not Africa, because the only thing that is opposite to America and Africa, that's opposite of America, is Africa and Europe. Okay, now on this website by Graham Hancock, it talks about the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. It says, I don't know if the subject of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth have been brought up before in the forum, but I find it interesting. The supposed Emerald Tablets of Thoth are supposed to have been hidden in the halls of Ameti. Under the Great Pyramid, after Thoth left his earth life, they are supposed to be over 36,000 years old, written by Thoth, an Atlantean priest king that founded a colony in ancient Egypt after the sinking of Atlantis. He built the Great Pyramid. From the preface of the Emerald Tablets, when the time came for him, Thoth, to leave Egypt, he erected the Great Pyramid over the entrance of the great halls of Ameti, placed in it his records and appointed guards for his secrets from among the highest of his people. Some 1,300 years before Christ, Egypt, the ancient kingdom, was in turmoil, and many delegations of priests were sent to other parts of the world. Among these were some of the pyramid priests who carried with them the emerald tablets as talisman by which they had exercised authority over the less advanced priestcraft of races descended from other Atlantean colonies. It says, the particular group of priests bearing the tablets immigrated to South America, where they found a flourishing race, the Mayas. So what they're trying to say is that those priests, I guess when it was time for them to go, that they went back to South America. It says where they found the flourishing race, the Mayas, who remembered much of the ancient wisdom. Among these, the priests settled and remained. In the 10th century, the Mayas had thoroughly settled the Yucatan, and the tablets were placed beneath the altar of one of the great temples of the sun god. So that's what they're saying. So that he was from Atlantis, and allegedly he went to Egypt, built the Great Pyramid. Then he had a priesthood there. Eventually, it was time for them to go. Then they went to South America, where the Mayas were at. And they had remembered a lot of the ancient knowledge that was passed down. So to me, what it sounds like, that Thoth was from Atlantis. It sunk, according to the fable. He went to ancient Egypt, set up a colony there. Then eventually they left and went back to South America. Now on this website, it's called Educate, Inspire, Change. It says there is a monument shaped like the ancient cross, Ankh, in Mexico. And there it is. There it is right there. It says located in Calauhuca, modern day Toluca. We find one of the most mysterious monuments ever discovered in Mexico. Referring to the monument number 4, Cruz Altar or Zampantli. The structure shares an incredible similarity with the Ankh cross from the ancient Egypt. The Egyptian symbol means life, a symbol commonly used as an iconography of the ancient Egyptians. The key of life. In ancient Egypt, the Ankh was related to various ancient deities who were represented by bearing the symbol indicating their power over life and death, their immanence and condition of eternal. And it says, when related to men, it depicts a search of immortality, which is why it is used to describe life or the idea of life after death. The Ankh was considered as a symbol of rebirth, deeply connected to the goddess Isis and her husband Osiris, who was assassinated by his brother. Isis resurrected him with the help of Anubis. And then, as you see here, that's the Ankh over there in Egypt. And then this person says here, it says, according to Richard Caruso, the Aztecs and Egyptians were parallel civilizations in numerous ways, despite having evolved on opposite sides of the Atlantic Ocean. Both civilizations built pyramids, both utilized the solar symbolism, and both believed in life after death, preparing their dead for a journey to the afterlife via an elaborate and highly ritualistic ceremony.
The priest, he's having himself disguised as a Mayan. So maybe there was a contact. And we know the other one goes back at least 3,300 years. So this is some more evidence we believe that there was contact between the Mayans and the Cometians. And when I sent this thing that I spoke about and showed to Hunbat's men, he said it was clear in their tradition, so with Del Alejandro, that the Mayans had come here and the Cometians had come there.
And then here is an Instagram that I follow called RamoMar_NY. And it's based off of ancient Egyptian, history. And here you see on his fashion, right here, he has the Ankh. Now, I don't know whether if he knows that the Ankh is in Mexico, and if he knows that there is a connection between the Mayans and the ancient Egyptians, but there definitely is one, And I just showed you guys the proof of that, as well as the god of ancient Egypt, Thoth, and how they said he came from Atlantis, and how Plato and other philosophical people of ancient Greece, how they also knew about Atlantis as being a part of the Americas.
A man that was buried in Egypt, and his name was Maya. And on the ceiling of his tomb, he had writing, ancient writing, from the Chichen Itza language. Now, the Chichen Itza is a location in South America, and this is the location where the Mayans, it's one of the locations, one of the main locations that the Mayans would sacrifice humans. So we have this man named Maya buried in Egypt, and he has on the ceiling of his tomb the Chichen Itza language, and on the ceiling of the tomb in this language it says the date that he arrived and what he did when he came. And then he was buried in Egypt. Now the interesting thing about his tomb is that when he's buried in Egypt, the walls of the tomb are just like all of the Egyptians. He has all of your typical Egyptian hieroglyphs. He is shown on the wall as an Egyptian, dressed like an Egyptian. He is buried in the same manner as the Egyptians, and there is nothing that tells us that he's actually a Mayan other than the mural on the ceiling that shows us that he was from Mayan territory, Chichen Itza. So I decided to look at all of the books that I have on Egypt to see what I could find on Maya. And because one thing I've noticed is that, for one, I've never heard of this before, and two, I don't hear archaeologists talking about this. So I have at least 150 books on the subject of Egypt, and I was looking through all of these books, and of all of the books that I have on Egypt, I could only find one page in one book that speaks of Maya. And this is actually taken from a book that I have called The Complete Valley of the Kings, and it's by Nicholas Reeves, and this is on page 107. So first I want to read to you all of the titles that Maya held. Maya was the fan bearer on the king's right hand. He was the king's scribe. He was the overseer of the treasury, the overseer of the works in the place of eternity, and he was the leader of the festival of Amen at Karnak. And another important thing that it tells us about Maya is that his mother was Weret. So it says that he was born of the noble, lawly lady of the house of Weret. So we can learn a lot about Maya and who he is by looking at his mother.
Okay, guys, this is a picture of a resort that's in the Bahamas, and we know the Bahamas is a part of the Americas. And this is called Atlantis, Paradise Island. Now, if Atlantis was a part of Europe, or if it was associated with Africa, then it would have been placed over there. But no, it's placed in the Americas, on an American island of the Bahamas. Okay? So, tell me, what did you think about this information? Did you know this information? Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm out.